champions once again over in Italy after Barcelona are champions once again over in Spain after a midweek win over in La Liga. That's right. But what's left to be decided over in Spain's top flight? We're going to take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today is all about match number 37, that's right, over in La Liga. And of course we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe. You want to subscribe for La Liga, Blabbing Rovers, World Football. We're going to all here under one roof. That's right, just 2 games remain over in Spain's top flight. And we already know who's the champion. And we already know at least one club that is going down. And of course there might even be a couple. We'll have a look at all of that in a minute. A big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, hit the old subscribe, boys and girls. So what we're going to do now, though, is of course revisit the last round of games and of course bring you back up to date with what's been on over in Spain. So let's get into it then, shall we? Of course, here we go, recapping the results that of course did take place this past Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And hopefully I should be able to bring them onto your screen right about now. That's right, so sit tight, hold on, and let's get into it then, shall we? These were the results. Kick it all off with Girona's big win on the road against Valladolid. One with a draw on that one. Celta did beat my boys 1-0. That was Real Sociedad. So a bit of a grim season for us at the moment. Sevilla did beat Las Palmas. I do think that's confirmed relegation for Las Palmas. Sevilla moving in the right direction. Valencia had a shock loss to Alavés. Wow. Villarreal, though, put to 3 past Leganés. One with a 2-0 win. Real Madrid did beat Mallorca to at least give themselves a little bit of an edge. Of course, I won with a 3-0 win. Atlético Madrid losing to Osasuna, which was a surprise. Rayo Vallecano and Betis with all the goals in that one, 2-2 in the end. Getafe did lose to Bilbao, 2-0 win for them on the road. And the important one there, the decisive one, was Barcelona's 2-0 win over Espanyol, which of course I called. That's right. So that is that. What about, of course, the state of play in, of course, the league table? The league table looks like this right here, right now. As you see it, Barcelona are 7 points clear with only 6 remaining, so it is done and dusted. Of course, Real Madrid are confirmed in 2nd spot. We already know Carlos Ancelotti is going at the end of the season, I believe, and then Xabi Alonso is coming in. We also know Valladolid are down, Las Palmas are down, and Leganés are hanging on in there. And of course, they could bring in the likes of Alavés, Espanyol, Getafe into the relegation fight if they win. And everything else goes their way. So that's pretty much what's to be decided, that final relegation spot, and also perhaps, I don't even know, the placements in the top 5 is a little bit up for grabs. Will Bilbao and Villarreal compete for that 4th spot? Maybe even Bilbao compete for that 3rd spot. We just don't know. So that's the situation over there. These are, of course, the link for the Super Group, which I'll bring you back up to date next time, which will be the final time. Because I'm here on the road and I'm actually just scrambling to get this video done. So, these are the next round of games and we're going to get into them right about now. Alrighty then, folks, let's kick it all off with a trip to Madrid. That's right, Atlético for you and I as they take on Real Betis. That's right, Simeone's boys are 3rd in the table, 7 points for the campaign. Just 1 win the last 3 up against Real Betis and the man with Pellegrini. Unbeaten in the last 6 matches. They sit 6th with 59 points. And of course, have won 3 and drawn 3 over the last 6. Now, they play Real Betis and Atlético Madrid 56 times. 28 wins for Madrid, 13 wins for Real Betis, and 15 draws between the two sides. And the last time they played at this very venue was back in the 3rd of March, back in 2024. It was a 2-1 win for Madrid, that's right. And earlier in the campaign, over at Real Betis, it was a 1-0 win for Betis, of course. So they've exchanged victories this season. And in fact, over the last 3, it's been even Stevens with a win and a draw apiece between these two sides. Real Betis on the back of 3 successive draws, drawing a Fiorentina, then Osasuna, and then Vallecano. Madrid, though, not the best bit of form for them. With, of course, losing to Osasuna last time around. Of course, that was back-to-back away matches without a win. Basic odds on this one, and the odds do say Atlético victory for this match. I think I'm also going to lean towards that one with a 2-0 win on the night. So let's get to the next one. Celta Vigo, they're going to be taking on Rayo Vallecano. That's coming at you over at the Estadio Balados. Celta Vigo under Claudio Giraldes are 7th right now, 52 points for the season. They've won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6. But they're coming into this winning 3 of the last 4, so pretty good form. Up against Vallecano and Igno Perez, they are in 8th in a good spot in the table themselves with 48 points. Just 4 points separate the two sides heading into this one. Vallecano, they're losing just the once in the last 5 and played Celta Vigo 37 times since 1993. 9 wins Vigo, 16 wins Vallecano. and 12 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at this very venue, it was a 0-0 draw way back in March 2024. The reverse fixture this season, a 2-1 win for Vallecano over in their backyard. And I'm looking at this right here, right now, and a lot of 0-0 draws. There's been 3 0-0 draws in the last 5 between these two sides. Celta Vigo, though, coming into this on the back of that 1-0 win over Sociedad. It's actually been back-to-back wins for them up against Vallecano, who coming into this on the back of that 2-2 draw against Betis. That's right. The bookies have Celta Vigo as favourites. I've gone with a 1-1 draw here, point apiece. And we'll see who comes out on top in the end. Let's go to the next one then, and it's Barcelona, the champions. La la, whatever the song goes, we are the champions once again. So Barcelona once again got the glory, and this match coming out to the Stadio Olympic Luis Companys. That's right, Barcelona under Hansi Flick. Bit of a, not the greatest end to the season for them. The Champions League went the other way, but maybe still they come away with some bit of silverware and put the La Liga back in their hands, of course, for the time being. Anyway, we just want to beat in the last 6. They do sit top, and they will remain top, 85 points for the campaign. Up against a Villarreal side, though, who would have made it tricky, of course, if they didn't get a result against Espanyol this past midweek. This game would have added extra spice. But Barcelona's boys are in 5th right now, 4 wins on the spin, and they played Barcelona 53 times. Barcelona have won 33, Villarreal just the 10, and there's been 10 draws between the two sides. The last 4 between these two sides in La Liga have all ended up with the away side winning. That's right. The last time these sides played at Barcelona, it was a 5-3 win for Villarreal. But the last time they played over this season in Villarreal was a 5-1 win for Barcelona. In fact, if you add up the goals, this is where it gets very, very spicy. We're looking at 10, 17, 20, 21 goals in the last 3 matches. That's averaging 7 goals a game. Absolutely crazy stuff heading into this one. Barcelona on the back of that 2-0 win over Espanyol, of course, following on from the Clásico the other day. Villarreal, though, on the back of that 3-0 win over Leganés, back-to-back clean sheets for them. But they're coming into this, Barcelona are favoured, but I don't think they're going to win this one. No, I do think they're going to win this one. I thought they were just going to be, party mode sort of stuff. But no, I've given it to them in the end, 2-1 win to take another 3 points in the bag. Let's go to where we're going to go, Sevilla now, as they take on Real Madrid, of course. Would have been another spicy game as well, this one. Not an easy one. Sevilla, though, under Joaquim Cabros, all the way down to 14th right now with 41 points for the season. Just 1 win, though, in the last 6. Up against Real Madrid, who coming into is under Carlo Ancelotti for the penultimate time, who sits 2nd. 78 points, of course, 4 wins out of the last 6. And have played Sevilla 67 times since 1993. 16 wins Sevilla, 45 wins for Real Madrid. There's been 6 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played over at Sevilla, it was a 1-1 draw way back in October 2023. The reverse fixture over at the Bernabeu was a 4-2 win for Madrid back in December. Madrid, though, Real Madrid on the back of that 2-1 win over Mallorca. Sevilla did relegate Las Palmas last time around with a 1-0 win. Bookies odds on this one, they will be going for Real Madrid as well. But there it is, that's what I was going for. A 1-1 draw in the end. Real Madrid aren't going to turn up for this one. They're a moody bunch of boys right now. So, going to go with a draw on that one. And we'll see if I'm right when we come back to game time. We're going to go to Valencia. They're taking on Bilbao. Of course, this one's a spicy one over at the Mestalla. Valencia under Carlos Cobahan are at 11th right now, 45 points for the season, but they're coming into this on the back of a defeat. Against Bilbao side under Ernesto Valverde, who are 4th with 67 points, coming into this on back-to-back wins. Now, they played Valencia 68 times since 1993. 27 wins for Valencia, 20 wins for Bilbao. There's been 21 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at this very venue, it was a 1-0 win for Valencia way back in January 2024. The reverse fixture at the Sandmams earlier in the campaign, back in August, on my birthday, it was a 1-0 win for Bilbao. That's right, Bilbao are picking up a 2-0 win over Getafe to make it back-to-back clean sheets for them. Valencia, though, on the back of that surprise loss to Alavés. The odds for this one, though, Valencia have the edge on this one. It's a tight one. It could go either way. I'm going to give it to Valencia as well, 1-0 win, to really kick on towards the back end of the season and hoping for a top half finish. Who'd have thought that at the start of the season or midway through the season? Mallorca coming up against Getafe, coming up at the Mallorca San Juan Stadium. Mallorca under Jagaboro Areste are in 10th right now, just 1 win in the last 5. Up against the Getafe side, who could get stocked into that relegation zone. They've lost 6 on the bounce, of course. They've played 35 times, these two clubs, since 2004. 14 wins Mallorca, 13 wins Getafe. There's been 8 draws. Last time around over at Mallorca, it was a 0-0 draw back in October 2023. The reverse fixture this season, a 1-0 win for Mallorca over Getafe, who've won, or unbeaten, over Getafe over the last 4, and they've only conceded 2 goals in those last 4 matches. Mallorca, though, on the back of that 2-1 loss to Real Madrid, Getafe on the back of that 1-0 loss to Bilbao, but they haven't scored a goal in the last 5 games. They are in free fall. The bookies will give it to Mallorca, surely. Yes, they do. Getafe could be in trouble here, depending on what goes on elsewhere. Going with a 1-0 win as well, in my eyes. Let's go on to the next one, which will be Real Sociedad, my boys, against Girona. Of course, Real Sociedad under Emmanuel Iglesias, who I do believe is going to be making way at the end of the season. 12th in the table, 43 points for the season. Has been a really write-off season, winless in the last 6. They're against the Girona side, who are under Salva right now. They're 13th with 41 points and have just lost once in the last 4. They played each other 13 times, though, since 2008. 4 wins for Sociedad, 1 win for Girona, and there's been 8 draws. Last time around at this very venue, it was one of those 8 draws. It was a 1-1 draw back in August 2023. This season, though, over at Girona, it was a 1-0 win for Sociedad way back in October. So Sociedad unbeaten against Girona over the last 6, but they have drawn 4 of that last 6. Girona, though, on the back of that 1-0 win over Valladolid. Sociedad on the back of that 1-0 loss to Celta Vigo. In fact, Sociedad haven't scored a goal in the last 3. They're expected to win this game, though, but I wouldn't put it past them. I've gone with a 2-0 win to my boys to hopefully get something out of it. Let's go to Valladolid now, up against Alavés. Of course, this one bit might be a little bit spicy, of course. Valladolid all the way down to 20th, they're down. That's not going to be spicy. Up against Alavés side, who are in that relegation zone, or no, they're actually just above it. Just above it, of course. Coming at you, they played 30 times since 1998. 11 wins Valladolid, 14 wins Alavés. There's been 5 draws. Valladolid, though, under Alvaro Rubio, 6 defeats on the spin there, but they haven't won in the last 17. Up against Alavés side, who coming into this on 50% form, 1-2 lost to and drawn 2 over the last 6. Now, last time around over at Valladolid, it was a 2-0 win for Alavés. That was way back in October 2020. The reverse fixture this season, 3-2 win it was for Valladolid back in October. Goodness gracious me. Valladolid, though, on the back of that 1-0 loss to Girona. Valencia losing to Alavés last time around. So Alavés on the back of a win. Alavés are expected to win this game. Valladolid are toast, and this could probably end it for Alavés in a good way. 1-0 win, which will put them above the threshold, you would imagine. Next up, though, we go to already relegated Las Palmas up against a possibly relegated Leganés. That's right. Come on to the Gran Canaria. Las Palmas under Diego Martinez are 19th right now, 32 points for the season. They're going to go down. 4 defeats on the spin up against the Leganés side, who are in 18th right now, 34 points for the season. But a win for them here could see them get a little bit closer to safety. But they played each other 25 times since 1996. 7 wins. Las Palmas 8 wins. Leganés have been 10 draws between the two sides. Last time around at this very venue, it was a 1-0 win for Las Palmas way back in September 2022. That was in the Segundo Division. This time around, this season, it was a 2-1 win in Leganés back in August. Leganés, though, on the back of that 3-0 loss to Villarreal, they've last time that was on the road as well. So the last 4, at least the last 4, they have yet to get a win. Las Palmas, though, the last home match was a 1-0 loss to Vallecano. In fact, it's actually been back-to-back 1-0 losses for Las Palmas, so back-to-back games without a goal. But the bookies on this one, they'll go with Leganés slightly, but it's very, very tight. And unfortunately, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, which doesn't really do Leganés any favours in their quest for survival. And then finally, folks, we go to Osasuna up against Espanyol, also on the Sunday, May the 18th. And again, this is the penultimate game, or penultimate match day in Spain. We'll catch the final one very, very soon. At the Estadio El Sadar, Osasuna under Vicente Moreno, they are 9th right now, 48 points for the season, just 1 defeat in the last 6. A really good season for them. Up against Espanyol, who are in 16th right now, 4 defeats on the spin, winners in the last 5, and of course they're on 39 points. They played 38 times since the year 2000, 17 wins for Osasuna, 11 wins Espanyol. There's been 10 draws between the two sides. Last time around, over at this very venue, it was a 1-0 win for Osasuna. The reverse fixture this season was a 0-0 draw over in Espanyol, but 4 of the last 5 have ended up all square between these two sides. Espanyol on the back of that 2-0 loss to Barcelona, and Osasuna winning against Madrid last time around. But the bookies will back Osasuna on this one, and I've gone with them as well with the 2-1 win. A fantastic season they've had so far. And if I'm right, this is what the season, or at least the table, will look like as we enter into the final match day. It's Barcelona, of course, top of the table, cannot be caught. Real Madrid remaining 2nd, and Atletico with Athletic Club in 4th, going down Valladolid, Las Palmas, and Leganés. And that will confirm your relegation spots over in La Liga, which of course will leave limited stuff to play for in the final day of the season. So that, my friends, is what I've got for you. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like, and of course be back next time around when we return for the final game of Spain action. Until then, we're done.